If you watch one thing today, make sure it's this. The moment Taylor Swift decided to come out against Marsha Blackburn, Donald Trump, and the Republican Party.
Taylor Swift comes out against Trump.
I don't care if they write that. I'm sad that I didn't 2 years ago, but I can't change that. I'm saying right now that this is something that I know is right, and you guys, I need to be on the right side of history. And if he doesn't win, then at least I tried. She votes against the reauthorization of the Violence Against Women Act, which is just basically protecting us from domestic abuse and stalking.
State regime media, which calls itself Fox News, launched an attack on the MeidasTouch network this week on various segments on state regime media. They would attack the MeidasTouch network as such. They would say, these new Democratic candidates who have been winning their primaries talking about affordability and free health care and stopping these data centers from popping up everywhere and actually fighting for the people and workers. They're just going to be on the MeidasTouch network and they're not actually going to be able to implement their policies. They'll just appear with Ben. That's what they were saying. Well, I hope they continue to show up on the MeidasTouch network. We champion fighters for the people, fighters for the workers, fighters for universal health care. Fighters is who we champion here at the MeidasTouch network. But I believe they, just like Mayor Mamdani of New York City, are going to make massive beneficial change. Look what Mamdani was able to do already, getting the Rent Stabilization Board to freeze rent hikes for a 2-year period already. Let me show you what state regime media did during this last segment, where they brought in a guest, and they were doing this all week, who was like, yeah, these candidates, the AOCs and all of the people like her.
Hey everyone, I hope you're enjoying the video. We put a lot of time into research, fact-checking, and making sure every story we bring you is informative and meaningful. As an independent channel, your support truly keeps this work going. So if you find value in our reporting, please take a second to like this video, subscribe to the channel, and help us reach more people with stories that matter. Your support means a lot, and it allows us to keep giving our best every single day. The most powerful man on the planet once sat down at his keyboard and typed 4 words, in all capital letters for the entire world to see. I hate Taylor Swift. That's it. That's a real post from a real president of the United States on his own social media platform. A grown man, the leader of the free world, announcing in all caps, unprompted, on a Sunday, that he hates a pop star. And here's the thing, he's never been able to stop. Years later, still in office, he's still posting about her, asking if anyone's noticed she's no longer hot since he said he hated her, dragging her into posts about other celebrities, gloating when she got booed at a football game, the president of the United States rent-free obsessed. So the real question isn't whether Taylor Swift destroyed Donald Trump, it's this: why does this one woman live so permanently inside his head?
She says something now, it is very, very dangerous. I mean, physically dangerous in the United States. We saw his stormtroopers try and usurp the Constitution a few months back. If I was Taylor Swift, the security around me would be immense right now. Never mind if she comments at the Super Bowl or something. So she's got to be very careful given the totality of her celebrity.
The Tea Party as though was not influential, and then tell me these 10
they're very influential.
But there were 60 of them, not 10. These 10, all the energy. And by the way, this is just a start. We're not even counting the Graham Plattners of the world and the others, the James Tallaricos.
We have a long way to go. We have a long way to go. But look, here's the thing. When AOC came to office, she learned, the squad learned the hard way. Congress is about numbers. It's about math. And Nancy Pelosi had to say, little girl, you don't have the numbers. We do. They will be marginalized. You will see them on MSNBC and MeidasTouch, and that's about it, because they won't be doing deals. They won't be involved in legislating.
I think the only numbers they care about is the number.
And then they showed this clip of AOC where she's like, let's talk about what voters in general are looking for. And this was part of their attack on us, as though what AOC said is controversial. Here, play this clip right here.
Voters in general are looking for a change, and they're seeing that progress is not happening in the ways that meets the challenges that they're facing. And so you're going to see, I think, people voting for new leadership. There was so much fear around that when I was elected, and none of it bore out to be true.
What did she actually do to him? And the answer is better than any insult, because what she really did was catch him lying. and beat him with a single photo of her cat. Let's get into it. First, you have to understand that for most of her career, Taylor Swift said nothing about politics. Nothing. For years, her record label reportedly warned her to stay silent. They pointed to what happened to the Dixie Chicks back in 2003, when one anti-war comment got them blacklisted from country radio and torched their career. So Swift kept quiet. Through 2016, through the whole first Trump campaign, she said nothing. And she's admitted since that she felt genuinely remorseful about staying silent. Then, in 2018, she broke.
She votes, she thinks that if you're a gay couple, or even if you look like a gay couple, you should be allowed to be kicked out of a restaurant. It's really basic human rights, and it's right and wrong at this point. And I can't see another commercial and see her disguising these policies behind the words Tennessee Christian values. Those aren't Tennessee Christian values. I live in Tennessee. I am Christian. That's not what we stand for.
And then Jesse Waters, said, it's not socialism, guys, it's communism. And all of these people out there and the type of people who go on the Midas Touch network, who they were alluding to, they're coming after you. They're coming after you. So we need to crush them. They want to hurt us, so we need to crush them. Watch what Jesse Waters says. Let's play this clip.
Howard, you're coming for us. You're coming for our money. You're coming for our people. You're coming for our way of life. It's not socialism, guys. This is communism. You can't reason with these guys. You have to crush them. And we will, because we're not going to let our greatest city get destroyed. We're not going to let our civilization get destroyed. These people are going to steal from us. These people want to hurt us.
I want to show you more of what state regime media is saying, but this is what the MAGA Republicans are going with. This is the talking points that they've got from Trump and MAGA Mike Johnson. Like, Trump gave a whole speech where he was like,
ahead of the midterms, she got on Instagram and endorsed a Democrat, Phil Bredesen, running for Senate in her home state of Tennessee, against Republican Marsha Blackburn. And it wasn't just a post. Within 24 hours, tens of thousands of people registered to vote. Her Netflix documentary, Miss Americana, actually showed the moment behind the scenes. Swift arguing with her own team, with her own dad, about the risk, and deciding to do it anyway because she couldn't stay silent about candidates she felt were voting against women's rights and LGBTQ rights. And how did Donald Trump, then president, respond to a singer endorsing a candidate? He went after her. Standing outside the White House, he told reporters he figured Taylor didn't know anything about the issues, and then delivered the petty little dagger.
What does President Trump mean when he says that Taylor Swift is no longer hot?
Look, he is speaking about Taylor Swift's political views and how perhaps it has impacted the support of the American public for her work, and I will leave it at that.
We're facing the biggest threat. It's these communists that you see in New York City. It's these communists who want rent stabilized, and they want free health care, and they want to end the genocide in Gaza. These are the biggest threats to us right now. That was Trump's speech right there. Let me just show you. This is what MAGA Mike said. He goes, do you read what these people are actually saying? Listen to what MAGA Mike says is the biggest threats facing the United States. And I'm going to go back and show you that these are part of the talking points of state regime media. Here, play this clip.
This is their platform. Listen, this is actually quotes from their platform that they published, I think, about a day or two ago. You can find this on the internet. Okay, here's just a sample of what they're about. They put this on paper. They're saying the quiet things out loud. Abolish the Electoral College, replace the two-party system with a multi-party democracy. Expand the House of Representatives, implement proportional representation and ranked choice voting in all elections. Establish public ownership of the largest corporations and essential industries to ensure democratic control and accountability to the people. Abolish ICE and grant amnesty for all. End sanctions on Cuba, Venezuela, and Iran. Free Palestine. Quote, for a free Palestine with Jerusalem as its capital. End all military and economic aid to Israel. Prosecute U.S. and Israeli leaders responsible for the genocide in Gaza. Abolish the carceral state.
I like Taylor's music about 25% less now. 25% less. The leader of the free world grading a pop star's catalog based on her politics. It was small, it was thin-skinned. And it was the very first sign that this woman got to him in a way he couldn't hide. It only grew from there. In 2020, as the country erupted in protest after the murder of George Floyd, Swift went straight at Trump, calling him out by name for stoking racism and telling him flatly that people would vote him out in November. She went after his attempt to gut the Postal Service ahead of a mail-in election. She endorsed Joe Biden. She'd gone, in a few short years, from total silence to one of the most influential political voices in American pop culture.
Plus then, from a career basis, she is going to eliminate a good proportion of her audience. Does that matter? Shouldn't she take the risk? And I would argue, hold on, she's a musician. She's a songwriter. Focus on that, Taylor. You're really good at what you do. You know, if you can stop Donald Trump, I beg you on my bended knees, do it. But there's whole sorts of reasons why you personally maybe should not.
Quote, redirect police and prison funding to public services as steps towards abolishing the carceral forces of the capitalist state. Y'all, it goes on and on and on. Defund.
Right, so then you have Jesse Waters saying, you know who the big problem is? It's these young, college-educated white women. They're the big problem. Play this clip.
So who put Mondani and these commies in power? 40% of the city is foreign-born, 70% non-white. A majority of the city is on some sort of government welfare, but young college-educated white women are a big part of the base. They can't get jobs with their useless degrees, so they can't afford rent. And they're not getting married, so they're kind of stuck. And they're angry at America, at capitalism, and at their party. The Democratic Party kind of screwed them. Pressured them to take out six-figure loans to get dumb degrees, raise the cost of living here with reckless spending and open borders, and then the media told them to act like men. Men don't like that. Take it from me. So they're single, alone, and they're definitely not voting Republican, so they're voting commie. They want to blow up the system.
And then you have one of Fox hosts, Campagno, who says, you know, one of the big problems, there's no law against adopting a child strictly for sex trafficking. Why is that?
And then came 2024, and the episode that's the real heart of this whole thing. Because this is where Taylor Swift didn't just oppose Donald Trump, she caught him. In August of 2024, Donald Trump did something genuinely remarkable, even by his standards. He went on his social media platform and posted a collection of images showing Taylor Swift and her fans endorsing him. One showed Swift dressed as Uncle Sam, with text reading, "Taylor wants you to vote for Donald Trump." Others showed crowds in Swifties for Trump shirts. And Trump captioned the whole thing with 2 words, "I accept." There was just one problem, they were fake.
But I have to tell you, the biggest pop culture news of the year broke while we were in this cabinet meeting. Travis Kelce and Taylor Swift are engaged, and the world wants your reaction, sir.
Well, I wish him a lot of luck.
Thank you,
I think he's a great player. I think he's a great guy, and I think that she's a terrific person. So I wish them a lot of luck.
I'm serious.
She's also an attorney. What are you talking about? There's many laws that would prohibit that. What are they even saying on state regime media? Here, play this clip right here.
Seen, for example, a law against adopting a foster child. There's no law against adopting a child strictly for sexual trafficking. Why is that? Why is there no law against that?
And then very creepily, state regime media talks about like fertilization in young girls or something. Here, play this clip about what they said. Huh? What's even going on? Here, play this clip.
Absolutely. We still have 3.6 million births a year, but the problem is teens and young adults. From ages 15 to 19, the fertility rate is down 7%, and it's down 70% over the last 2 decades, meaning we're telling people that are young not to have babies, to wait till they're in a more stable life situation, till they're more financially secure, maybe they haven't found the right partner.
Then more from Jesse Waters right here saying, yeah, it's the liberal women. They get college degrees, they move into Manhattan, and they can't get a job.
The images of Swift were AI generated. She had never endorsed him. She never said any of that. Trump, a candidate for president of the United States, had shared fabricated images to create the false impression that the most popular musician on earth was backing his campaign. When he got asked if he was worried she might sue, he shrugged it off and claimed somebody else had made them. Now think about what that actually is. That's not a joke, that's disinformation, plain and simple, using fake images to deceive millions of voters about who a global superstar supports. And it's exactly the kind of thing that's poisoning elections everywhere. You can now manufacture a fake endorsement out of thin air and blast it to millions before anyone can correct the record. And here's how Taylor Swift responded.
In fact, every moment since the debate ended last night, Trump has been spinning and spinning and spinning. I mean, just listen to his response after Taylor Swift announced she is endorsing Kamala Harris.
Well, I actually like Mrs. I actually like Mrs. Mahomes much better, if you want to know the truth. She's a big Trump fan. I was not a Taylor Swift fan.
Oh, really? Really, Donald? You prefer Brittany Mahomes? What's your top 5 Brittany Mahomes songs? Is this really his angle? Well, I don't care, Taylor, because I like your boyfriend's coworker's wife better.
So then they can't afford rent. That's the problem. Here, play this clip.
And the rest is stolen. Now, it's not just foreigners voting commie. These liberal women, you know, they get the college degrees in like sociology. They move into Manhattan and they can't get a job. Shocking. So they can't afford rent. So a bunch of single women with no jobs and degrees have to shack up in the same apartment in the Bronx. And they've been taught in school America's evil, so they get angry. And they vote communist to get revenge. They call these women downwardly mobile. And they're going to take the whole city down with them. But we're not going to let them do it.
And then you have Greg Gutfeld say, Trump is literally Uncle Sam, though. He's our savior. I mean, isn't this state regime media some of the weirdest crap you've ever watched? And dangerous and like racist and hateful. Here, play this clip.
People are not necessarily. I kind of almost agree with you in the sense that I don't think Trump can help himself being Uncle Sam. He literally is Uncle Sam, and he can't help it because he loves his country. Paul, we've talked about this.
Then you have Jesse Waters saying,
cannot process being so completely, so calmly rejected. So he rages. I hate her. She's not hot. Year after year. And every rant is just him confirming over and over that she got to him. She didn't need a stage or a microphone or a live TV moment. The most followed woman in the world beat the most powerful man in the world with a single honest post, and he's been unable to stop talking about it ever since. That's not destruction. It's something quieter and worse for him. It's being beaten so easily that you can't even pretend it didn't happen. Hey, if you made it all the way here with me,
soon, thanks to 55 points in the day, the Eagles punched their ticket to a Super Bowl rematch with the Kansas City Chiefs. And you know what happened? It was an incredible game, a little surprising, but right from the beginning, in the first quarter of the big game, which I was there, I watched in person. I was there along with Taylor Swift. How did that work out? How did that one work out?
New York's been dipping its toes into communism. Think about it. You've got half the city on Medicaid, 20% of the city's on food stamps, 1 out of every 3 renters lives in a rent-stabilized apartment, as Zaid Jalani says. Okay, this stuff also not communism, unless every boomer is a communist because they all get Social Security and Medicare. And no, they aren't just getting what they paid into. Those programs are redistribution of wealth also. Here, play this clip.
New York's actually been dipping its toes into communism for a while. Nearly half the city's on Medicaid. 20% of the city on food stamps. 1 out of every 3 renters lives in a rent-stabilized apartment, like the rent hasn't gone up in 30 years. 5% of New York City lives in the projects. New York City has a bigger budget than the whole state of Florida. And we're still in debt. No wonder. Everything's free. And the rest is stolen.
And then Jesse Waters says, and the Democrats, they're the ones destroying the reflecting pool. Here, play this clip.
Dakota, I don't know why anybody can't get down with this. So while that's going on there, the Democrats are ripping up the reflecting pool. Now, a couple days ago, a lot of people at this table poo-pooed the idea that you guys would vandalize the pool. But now we have hard evidence reported by the New York Times and the Park Police, because I've looked at all the reports. There was a guy with a pitchfork there the other day. They caught him at midnight doing something dirty. Another guy, 171-foot razor slashes at the bottom. Someone even got caught pulling up while he videotaped himself ripping up the bottom. That was the canoeist.
thank you, genuinely. You're the reason this channel exists, and I don't take a second of it for granted. We're independent here. No big network on top of us, nobody deciding what we can and can't say. So if this told you something you didn't know, like the fake AI endorsement story, which a lot of people forgot, hit that like button. It genuinely helps us beat the algorithm. Subscribe and tap the bell so you don't miss the next one, and share this with one person who needs to see it. That's how independent voices grow, one share at a time. And drop me a comment. Do you think Taylor's quiet one-post approach gets under Trump's skin more than people who scream at him? I read every single one. Let's talk about it down there. Stay sharp out there, stay loud, and I'll see you in the next one.